say it? Should I even say it anymore? You know? The thing I started with, like, I just said it one time, but...
You can do it, at least, for this. This is supposed to be the end of the season, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So, I mean, you gotta end it strong. Have a good one.
Now that you set me up like that, I'm afraid to do it.
Don't let me down. Pressure's on.
And we're back.
Golf clap, golf clap, golf clap.
We're here to review the season. We didn't really have an idea of what a season would even be, or what our videos would be.
No, we did not.
Or what we would play.
Clearly. But, I mean, it's a good time to take a look back. The fun times we've had and the fucking terrible times we've had. Yeah, there's some big duds. But
yeah, let's just let's try to dive in and figure out how we do this, because I have no clue. So, for me, Wind Waker is a game I hold very close to my heart either way, because I grew up with it. I played it in like 5th grade. It was like one of the first games I beat, and I love Zelda anyway. So, playing it again, it wasn't a big deal to me. The problem with it was the fucking emulator.
Right. That was disappointing, because I was actually really looking forward to like going through all of it, and we never did.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually a game that I really want to revisit, because like art-wise, like it looked really cool. Like I didn't see games back then that looked like that. It was unique, and I really liked it. Like I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Oh yeah. I don't know, man. The art style specifically, and I guess we're just kind of talking about it, but the art style, it is one of the few games from that era, or most any era, like, it's almost 20 years old, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it still looks like it was made today.
Yeah.
You know?
I see, like, much worse looking indie games come out all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
I guess you never really got to beat it, but
we should
try to
really get into, like, the meat of the game. I don't feel like we were still pretty early in when it started goofing.
We'll try it again. Surely to God, Nintendo's going to put out a Wind Waker HD Deluxe.
Yeah, why would they not?
They're going to slap a few more adjectives on there, sell it on the Switch. The music in Wind Waker is, I think, phenomenal. Actually, making music with the Wind Waker sucks. Like, that mechanic is weird, and I'm glad they improved it in like later games. Like, I didn't get to play that yet.
I did not get to that yet,
no. But it's not the best, so I'll say it's good.
Alright. So, 3 then?
That's a 3. Alright.
Okay.
What about you?
Alright, so for music, for me, like, I still, like, we didn't get very far into it, so I didn't get a full idea of it. But just from what little bit I saw, like, it seemed like it would be pretty similar to the music in a lot of Legend of Zelda games, which is, like, normally pretty, like, atmospheric and, you know, fitting with the tone of whatever's going on, but I don't know, so I guess it has to be a 3, because it's pretty, like, I'm not blown away by it by any means, but it's good. Like,
yeah, well, there's also okay,
above
which is
average.
a 2.
Yeah, we'll go with okay, because like I didn't get far enough into it to really appreciate like much music of it, so we'll go with 2.
I can't argue with you, because it's not the best, and I know that I'm probably blinded by nostalgic feelings.
Yeah.
So, but I can hear the song for the Sailing Through the Sea in my head right now. It's like, bring me back, man.
Well, it's understandable.
But that's me. Art style. That's going to be a great for me, because I think it holds up better than so many other games. It's in fucking insane. I think something else is playing. The cell shading is timeless. It's kind of crazy how, really, when that happened, like when that was revealed that that's the path they were going, people were pretty upset, because they had this really realistic Link fighting Ganon scene as part of like the Nintendo GameCube reveal. And so, you ever seen this?
Where people were upset about how realistic the fight between them looked?
No, they had seen that before Wind Waker was ever announced.
Oh,
and so when Wind Waker was announced and they showed the art style they went with, people were pretty upset. They wanted this realistic Ocarina of Time, you know, used on the new hardware and everything. You know, give me Resident Evil, but it's Link.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But
Actually, I do think I
it was the
remember
wise
some
choice for
blowback
them.
from that. Like, I do remember. I didn't get as involved in it. Oh, I remember that dude, and I fucking hated him. No, this is the one that I hated.
Called you Schwabby.
Fucking Kyle.
Kyle. That's fucking right. Zelda Space World. Luigi looks fucking weird in this.
Yeah, especially there. That was nightmarish. That 100% does just look like Resident Evil, but Zelda.
Yeah. So people wanted that.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Well, I think they made a wise choice.
Like,
Made them able to make a huge world with a beautiful look to it, and it looks great. Doesn't use up all your resources. I don't know. It's great. It was very smart of them. I think they were. Some others did it before them, but it feels like they kind of perfected cell shading in this. That's why I call it great.
I can see that. I mean, I don't have as in-depth of a review on it because, again, not as far into it, but visually it was like a very enjoyable and fun game.
Yeah.
But, like, the art style isn't, I don't know, it wasn't, like, mind-blowing to me either, but I'll give it a 3 on that, for sure.
Yeah. And then finally the gameplay. I don't really like all the sailing you have to do. I don't like the Triforce collecting part, but we didn't get to that.
No, we didn't get to that part. And I barely did any of the sailing. And, like, in what little bit I did, like, it was cool that was something that was in the game, like, and I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see where it would have gotten, like, repetitive and old pretty quick. I feel like most games that have, like, any kind of, like, ocean navigation, whatever, like, it can get old kind of quick.
Oh, yeah.
But, with that being said, it was a cool thing to have in the game.
It's cool. It was cool for the time. 2003.
Yeah.
No. Gameplay, I'll give a good.
I'll give it a good. Like, I'm actually closer to a 4 on it for gameplay because, like, even just in these parts here, like the stealth aspects, like, it had a lot of different game mechanics that were, like, fun and made it, like, a very immersive game, like, because it was very varied in the shit you were doing just in the beginnings. So it, like, led me to believe, like, it was going to be a lot more of just, like, introducing new game mechanics. And I don't know, I feel like that's something that both Zelda and Mario games did better than most other games, was, like, having the gameplay evolve throughout the game, like, and not just in, like, oh, you have this ability now or whatever, but like, adding different movement, like, adding different, like, all these different things, like, I don't know. It's, so I'm, like, 3.5 on it.
Oh, wow. It rounds up. Also forgot to say that. So.
Okay, so 4 then.
Alright. So, I gotta write that down. It's fucking Super Mario 3D World. And so, when this came out, it just looked like Super Mario 3D Land, but on the Wii U that no one had, and, you know.
Right.
And it just... But when you really get into it, and apparently they sped up the gameplay about 40% in this version, like, when you really get into it, it's kind of like perfect. A perfect little platformer that just gives you the right amount of everything to keep it entertaining and moving along.
That is fair, without being, like, overwhelmingly, like, hard. Like,
yeah.
Even where parts that it took us a minute to get past it, like, it wasn't, like, a insanely hard game.
Yeah.
It was,
it's
like,
testing
mostly
your skill.
Yeah.
You know, and it when you get something that not many others get. It's easy to learn, hard to master. That's the perfect balance they keep in their Mario games, and especially this one. It's fun for multiplayer. It's perfect for exactly 2 or 1 peoples. Any more than that is insane. But I don't know, I love the shit out of it. Had a great time with it. Does that mean that all the little pieces are going to be 5s? No, probably not.
I would agree.
What do you think about it?
I had a lot of fun with this game. Like, there were times where it was annoying, but I mean that was the nature of it being like a. Even the times where it was annoying, like I liked the mechanics that made it annoying. If that makes any sense. Like where like you can fuck with each other like while you're going through it. Like it made it fun. Like cause there's several times where we like killed each other or like fucking booped each other's power up or whatever. And I don't know. I like that they, cause in almost every Mario game it's always like entirely co-op. There's no fuckery. Yeah. Like this game allowed for fuckery and I liked that. Yeah. That and like each level was like, I don't know. I like that they have it to where when you eventually just fuck up way too much, like you're a cat now. It's easy.
You're a hyper cat.
Yeah, just get through it. Just move on. Like we've got other levels to show you. Quit fucking around. Get these stars. Let's go.
We know you're just tired right now.
And you're not gonna stop playing, so we'll oblige you.
Yeah. Good game. Alright, let's rate it. So the music, I'm going to put at a good. It's not a mind-blowing soundtrack. It's a wonderful Mario soundtrack. Doesn't do anything incredibly new. I don't know. There's not much for me to say about it. There's no themes that really stick in my mind.
Yeah, I don't...
Everything just has the corners rounded perfectly off. And this is another thing.
That's a pretty good way to describe it.
The whole time you're going
to edge game.
It's very... just every bit of it is like, oh, that was nice, but you don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, with the music, I can't remember almost any of it. Like, it was not really a memorable soundtrack for me by any means. Even without, like, playing it for a while, I can remember, like, the art style of it, the gameplay of it. Like, it was fun, like, it looked good, but the music was just pretty, I don't know, felt like it was pretty lackluster for a Mario game. Like, in most other Mario games I've played, like, it was very, like, expressive and emotive and, like, I don't know, more memorable, I felt like.
Expressive?
I don't know, just, like, more exciting music. I guess I just didn't...
I thought it was just so standard Mario.
Yeah. And maybe that's why, is because I know that music now. Like, after so many years of playing different Mario games, like...
Yeah.
I remember it more in the games that I heard it first. Yeah, I'm gonna go with 2, because it's, meh. Like, not bad, but not anything memorable that stuck out either.
Art style. I mean,
I'll go with a 3 on art style because, like, 3, maybe 4. No, I'll go with 3 because, like,
4.
Yeah, like it.
There's some laziness.
A little bit, yeah. But even just in like navigating the world and stuff, like they made it look good. Like
yeah. And it's kind of neat that they had those little pockets of things you could do on the overworld map, except jump.
Right, that was pretty dumb. Like, you can jump, but it doesn't actually do anything.
Anything, yeah.
That would have been nice. Yeah, but all in all, like, pretty fun, well-rounded, but like you said, like, rounded edges. Like, very...
That's the whole thing. I mean, look at, like, Mario and Luigi. They kind of look like little plastic toys or whatever. You ever notice how shiny they are?
You know, I think there's a reason for that.
Why is that? To sell toys. My God. Who would have thought?
Capitalism strikes again!
Mickey Mouse wants to sell a few fucking hats.
Smooth like butter.
How long is it before Disney buys up Nintendo?
Honestly, it's probably already happened, and we're just waiting for the fucking non-disclosure agreements to expire or some shit. Disney's probably already bought all of us.
Yeah.
Like, we just don't know yet.
Yeah.
We're all Disney employees now. Everyone.
Turns out I've been working for Disney for 30 years.
Every company you've ever worked for, they work for Disney now.
I thought it was a Kinko's.
That little mom and pop restaurant, they work for Disney.
Flower shop on the corner works for Disney. Hot dog man, the hot dog stand works for Disney. Yeah, art style for me.
Mm-hmm. We got.
It's good.
Yeah,
Just
agree.
good. It's not great. There were certain corners that were cut, and though it's good for certain things, I think that sometimes we're guilty of giving Nintendo too much credit.
Yeah,
Because,
they do get a lot of just bandwagon like love.
Yeah.
Just because like they've made some really classic games that have been like such a huge part of pop culture, and like it's just like everything they make is gold, and I don't. I've never been a huge Nintendo fanboy. Like I do like the Mario games and a few others, but for the most part I was not as into it as most of my contemporaries. But after like the GameCube and on is when I like stopped playing a lot of Nintendo.
Yeah.
Just wasn't.
I mean, so how did it feel for you?
That's what I'm saying is like as far as gameplay wise, I really enjoyed it. I think that was for what it was. I'll say a 4 because I really enjoyed playing it. Like it was quite well. Now we're gonna go 3 again. Because like there were definitely some parts that could have been done better. I say, from a layman's perspective, but it was a really enjoyable game.
As far as gameplay for me, I'm gonna go ahead and give that a. God, that's so hard to quantify. I think it's great, honestly, but
you can't say it's
the boss
perfect.
fights are
Like,
lame.
the boss fights are pretty lame.
And almost everything else is sort of perfect in a way. But is it absolutely perfect? God, if I say that though, that means there will never be anything that's perfect. And it's not perfect, just if it's great.
That's true. And it is hard to say it's great. Like, it was really fun. But it wasn't like something that like would change my perspective on like types of games like this. Like, it wasn't the best Mario game I've ever played. Like,
but would you just call it a good game?
I would call it a good game. Like, it was an enjoyable game for sure.
See, I guess I have to start in my head with what I'd call it. So I would say Super Mario 3D World is with Bowser's Fury, it's a great game. But I have to figure out why that is. And I think I'm putting that on gameplay. I'm going to put it on gameplay. It's what makes you keep coming back. It's why you invite your friends. You just want to be at another level. You know, I didn't feel that way in Soul Reaver. You know,
that's an entirely different kind of game.
Yeah,
that's
true.
not like here's a level specifically designed for you to navigate.
Bite your neck and drag you with it. You know, that's kind of what I'm going with. Does the gameplay do that for you? So, let me sum those up. Donkey Kong Country 3 is a game I played with my cousin, and it plays like a Donkey Kong Country game, and it came out on the Super Nintendo, and I didn't own it growing up. So when we played it because it was 2 players.
Yeah, I feel like any like Donkey Kong Country game, because I hadn't played this one. This one was what, 3? Which one was this? Donkey Kong?
3.
Yeah. So I had to have played 1 or 2 because I remember it looked a little more dated than this did, like when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I didn't like have the game either. But it was with my who was it with? It was either my stepbrother or my cousin. But I don't know. It was. Oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself too. Go ahead.
I don't really have much else to say about it. It's kind of like the hardest.
It was
the hardest
insanely hard. Like
it got weirdly hard, weirdly quick.
Yeah.
Like
I remember being shocked at how mind-blowingly hard it was. It's like every fucking enemy
the flies
is
coming
so
in,
goddamn hard to hit.
The flies that came in, like you had no time to see them come out.
Right, it's just like, and you're dead.
Yeah.
Like before you even see anything on the screen, you're dead.
It's absolutely true. And I don't know. What else can you say about it? It's a Donkey Kong game and it's hard, and we played it because it was 2 players, so let's get started. Music. They saved a few of the good tracks for it. I've always loved, I will put his name here, I've always loved his work on these soundtracks, and maybe it's the same guy, I hope I'm not fucking wrong on that. There's always an atmosphere to them, and it's like got this, like, once again, nostalgic feel to it for me. Because I remember renting Donkey Kong Country, the first one.
Yeah.
And, like, I remember all that fucking music. That's one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. And it just evokes a certain feel and a certain... memories of a certain time of your life and stuff.
Yeah.
The music, I will only say is good, though, because it doesn't transcend anything that, like, Donkey Kong Country did. It didn't improve on that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do agree. Like, I do have to give it at least a 3 because it was good. Like, I did enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But it, again, wasn't anything that struck me, like, different than the rest.
Art style. Once again, we're using the Silicon Graphics generated 3D models. It had become standard at this point, and other studios are doing the same thing, you know. But it still looks great. It's unique for the Super NES, you know. Thinking of things like Secret of Mana and
Right.
NBA Jam or whatever.
Yeah, for me, honestly, it's got to be a 4 because I actually really enjoy the look of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it does bring you to that special place of nostalgia. For the time, it looked pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, and it's just...
So what they're doing, I mean, they just make a 3D model of and they animate it. And just, like, use those animation frames as little JPEGs and put them in sequence. But they make all the environment. It is really impressive still. It is really impressive. They really pushed the Super NES to its limits. As far as that, I guess I would say, God, I'm going to say a 3. It looks amazing. But I guess did it set the pace though? This is the problem with playing Donkey Kong Country 3 and not Donkey Kong Country 1. Because what if you could technically say that about all 3 of them.
True, but then where do you draw the line for the fucking Mario game then?
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
It's true.
I don't know.
You're making me realize it's the Mario conundrum.
Yeah.
You have trouble rating other games that aren't Mario or Zelda a 4.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have a problem with it.
Gameplay. So
God, that's much lower. that's much lower than how it looked. I'm gonna say
gameplay encompasses
I'm gonna
level
say-
design and all of that.
yeah. I'm gonna say I guess 2. Yeah, 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was really fucking hard game. But it was like the mechanics of it were. Nah, I gotta do 3, not 2. I gotta do a 3 because it was fun to play, but it was like kind of blew my mind how hard it got. Like the later we got in, it's like how do you even do some of this shit? Because like you would have like weird bugs. Like we showed one in there where like your ass is sticking through a barrel that you should not be clipping through, and it's just like you're dead because of it. Like the fucking what?
Yeah, unfair
your
shit
fat
like that.
ass body just held you back.
Yep. Oh, that was the thumbnail. That pissed me off so bad. That's why I know I'm gonna have to put it as a 2, because it was just it was so wonky in certain ways. It's like, oh, I have to make this super precise jump on level 4.
That is true. Just like we want you to be a master at this game at level 4, and then the last 10 levels are gonna be child's play. Like just nothing.
Secret of Mana. It's a game made by Square. I played it probably in middle school when I found a ROM of it, and it was recommended all the time, and that's when I wanted to try to be into JRPGs. So I would give it my best, but I never really got that far, because the plots always just don't engage me, and it feels like... I feel a thing in Japanese games is like there's no honor in the repetitive battles, in my opinion. It doesn't give you clout, baby. If you're getting lots of levels and grinding through and killing all kinds of shit to grind your shit, if you're in an MMO or if you're in a JRPG, I don't care.
I would agree. That's why I don't play really many of either. Like there's been a few MMOs I've tried to get into, but like the grinding shit is just it's too much. Like it's not fun. Like it's not engaging. Like it's hard to care about, especially when the plot is so wonky and all over the place, and like
it's like, and I really feel that even more as I get older, honestly. Like I would give it a try back in the day and stuff.
Same, like,
but it feels like a waste of time. Like I'm not getting anything.
You have to engage me with either your plot or your gameplay for me to want to continue your game. And if you can't do either, then like I give up on it pretty quick. But it's weird because like I loved Legend of Dragoon, but I think it's a large part like the nostalgia factor of like it was me, and like even though it was a single player game, there would be 4 of us in a room, like, and my brother, because there's 4 characters that you had, and so we would each take our turn.
Wow, that's funny as hell. That's awesome.
Like, or my brother, the asshole, picked Dart, who was the main character. So like any walking around or like going to the shop, anything like that was Dart. So he was doing all that, being a twat.
The thing is with this one, it's different because it is an action RPG, action JRPG.
That is true. It's not turn-based combat. Like you're actually hitting and moving.
And honestly, I'm sure if I gave it a chance and could grit my teeth through the fucking anime plot, maybe it's fun. Maybe it's a good game. But I know how I feel, especially with the first Mantis fight. Do you remember this thing?
Vaguely.
It's like, did they mean for you to die over and
like
over?
They had to. It's another common thing in like JRPGs that I've played is like you encounter like something early on. It's supposed to fuck you up like real hard, and then you get like revived or something. Like try again. Yeah.
Like, so okay, music. I vaguely remember it, but I remember it being good. I'll say that.
I do remember liking the music. More than I liked the gameplay story that was going on. Like it was atmospheric. Like
I'm gonna go with good.
Agreed. 3.
Art style, it's not bad, but
it's not. But it's not anything different than I like. Yeah. I've seen that exact game graphically a ton of times. Like and even like back then, it wasn't anything that was, groundbreaking or like mind blowing. Like it was pretty run of the mill. Like, So yeah, I'm gonna go with 2.
You know what? I'll do the same. We didn't see anything with what we played, so
It's true. We didn't get really deep in to see like some crazily animated bosses or some shit like that, but
yeah.
I don't know.
And then gameplay, I'm gonna give a.
Most of these reviews, by the way, people, are very ill-informed.
Yeah.
Like, we did not play the entire game for most of these.
Not at all. We're gonna review the 4 minutes that we did.
These are first impression reviews, basically. For most of them.
Yeah.
Except for the Mario one. Gameplay is gonna also be 2. Like, it's not 1, because I didn't.
What's that?
Hate it.
Gameplay's 2?
Yeah, gameplay is 2. So I didn't hate
Yeah.
the combat part. Like, that part wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But the boss fight was fucking dumb.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like it was going to be a lot of, like, grinding, fighting tiny shits over and over and over again to get strong enough to finally not suck.
Yep.
Like, I just didn't. But I didn't hate the combat of it, so I can't give it a 1. So
Yeah, I can't hate it. For me, I can't hate it. I can't love it. I never really got the flow of it.
Right.
So, I don't know. I like it even less than you, really. I would say an okay, too. Okay as well.
White bonds think alike.
So, Zelda 2. Let me tell you something about Zelda 2. For me, personally, it's a game that was in my life before Zelda 1, before Zelda Link to the Past, before Ocarina of Time, before Majora's Mask, any of that. It was the first Zelda game I ever played. And my only distinct memory is like the first spawn screen where you see Zelda asleep on the casket thing. And then like just wandering around the fields and dying all the time. My brother had a save file that I apparently erased one day on accident, and he was almost a Ganon. And it really wasn't until I played the game as an adult, 17 years old, basically an adult, still a child, but I grew up
way there.
that I understood how much that must have hurt. Zelda 2 is an insanely fucking hard game, and it is the weirdest one in the series. By a long shot. It's a side-scroller. It's an experience level-based RPG.
It was very strange.
There's not so much. There's sort of puzzles, I suppose. They're just usually keys to unlock something in theory, like really when you come down to it.
Right.
But it breaks the Zelda formula. Is it truly that much of a Zelda game? Could you have put any other sprite over Link, and would this be Zelda?
It could have been an entirely different game.
Yeah.
Without anyone thinking twice about it.
But there are things I love about this game, but we'll get into that. What about you, Billy? First thoughts?
I mean, it was definitely not what I was expecting. I mean, I did expect the side scroller aspect of it to some degree, but the walking through town and talking to people part was kind of weird. Just felt, I don't know, very just counter immersive. It was just really strange because you had to go and talk to some person in a random town to get a key for something that's in a different place.
I'll play devil's advocate. For me, that was kind of there's this whole world I actually have to pay attention to and explore, and I have to talk to everyone in every town, but is that good?
I get that. I'm not saying that's not the case. It was a weird part of the game.
It was
for sure.
It was weird. And also they said it in
the dialogue was so weird. Very weird dialogue. But I assume, with translation and everything, there's probably a good chunk of that.
I think it was assigned to Americans a lot of the time.
Well, that doesn't mean they were better than Americans. There's a lot of dumb Americans.
Illiterate Americans in charge of translating.
It's like, you don't even speak English yourself.
Music, I'm gonna say great. They're all earworms to me.
For me, it's good. Like, it wasn't, again, anything that I thought was absolutely crazy, probably because I didn't have it growing up. But it was good. Like, I liked it.
Art style. How late was this? This wasn't too late. I would say it's their worst. The coolest things are like the bosses. Whenever you get to see them. Those are the coolest sprites you see.
Alright. It literally just, it looks like Castlevania. It looks like a slightly more rudimentary Castlevania. Mm-hmm. And then the same when you're like navigating outside the cave, it looks like a rudimentary Pokemon.
But for the time and how did it age now, I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm going to say an okay.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to stick with as well.
Yeah. It's okay. Then finally we have gameplay. For me, that's an okay. Oh, is it bad though? I don't know. I think it's just That's actually tough for me, honestly, man.
I'm going to say okay. Like,
you remember how many times you had to stab shit though, and it just like everything beats the shit out of you.
That's why it's not good.
And you lose all your lives and have to travel all the way back and get to that
Actually,
point.
it's gonna be a 1 because I remember being stuck in that cave and like fighting invisible shit forever and just like, oh god, that was fucking annoying as shit. This absolute gem.
Next is Illbleed. Billy, you can lead us in on this one.
So Illbleed was actually one of the only Dreamcast games that I had, and I had no like forewarning of what the fuck was, like, we didn't know anything about this game, like, not me, not my parents, not my stepbrother, like, but we loved like horror movies and shit, so we all like watched horror movies as a family, like it was just a normal thing that we did all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's like, this looks like a scary game, I'll get it. And it was, like, for the time, like, I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I was pretty fucking young having a Dreamcast, like,
yeah.
And it, like, there's so many distinct ways that I died that were just burned into my memory, like, as a kid, like, that fucking hand reaching out of the lockers and just fucking crushing you and smashing you against the wall and shit.
Yeah.
That, like, I remembered that so vividly for so long. And, like, looking back, I was like, man, we never really made it that far into that game. I was like,
did y'all ever find the helmet?
No, I don't know if we did. I don't think we did. No, because we made it past where we were. Yeah. I do know that, but not much further. Because we were actually into a different house. It was weird. But, like, I don't know, I couldn't, for the life of me, remember, like, why we had stopped playing, and then when we played it again, I realized, like, how fucking wonky the gameplay was. Like, it's just, like, how almost impossible it was to do anything.
Yeah. Like, yes. Like, you're walking and things are just happening to you, and there's nowhere safe to walk, and there's no indication that something's going to happen to you. There's a jump scare that kills you that you can't even anticipate every few steps.
And it's like, oh yeah, you got to go look up that you need this thing to be able to see things that might scare you. But it uses up a meter that you have a finite amount of.
Yep.
And it's just so
But even to find those goggles, it's just in a random tree. It's not...
There's no, like, indication it's there.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, find your goggles here. No.
Was there anything that we missed that was, like, in the intro? Like, check by the tree?
No. I really don't think there was.
Oh, shit.
Because I remember that we had to look it up as kids, too.
Music. I don't even remember it.
Music, I'll go with 3 on it because it was like good spoopy music. Like it was as far as like when you were like getting into areas that like seemed like shit was gonna happen. Like it was good at setting the mood for at least for like what horror games were then.
Yeah.
I thought it did a pretty decent job of that, but That's like the best praise I have for this game.
Music for me, I don't even remember it, so I'm assuming it was like a 2. I'm sure it wasn't bad, or I would have said something about it, but I guess it's a 2.
Fair.
It's probably spooky music, standard spooky stuff, but I don't know anything about it. Art, for you.
It, even for the time, it looked pretty weird. But at the same time, like,
Why was the porn $30 and everything else was like, no. It cost $150 for a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I was about to say the porn costs less than a breath of fresh air. You know, it's a post-apocalyptic world. Like, fresh air is actually very finite and rare.
Oh, absolutely. Especially in this park. When we have our own hospital.
Where it's all made of just mold and asbestos.
So what was your rating?
2. It's 2. Because, like, it's between, like, 2 and 3 just because of, like, the death animations and stuff. Like, they were, like, jumped and grabbed you. Like, it was attention getting.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, it pulled you in. But it wasn't, like, didn't look great by any means.
Yeah.
God, this
fucking did it look
good
thing, or did it look okay?
It looked okay.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. I'm gonna say okay, because if anything, the HUD drags everything down.
Yeah, that is true. And it was, like, next to useless.
Yeah.
It did nothing to help.
Gameplay.
That's a 1 for sure. That's a definite 1.
Yeah. 1 for me. All of it is bad. Even if you get the goggles, it doesn't make the game fun.
It doesn't. Not even kind of.
I'm not scared, frankly, but also played it as an adult.
Yeah.
Gameplay is a 1.
Much different.
Super Mario Party. I played Mario Party on N64 as a kid.
I did as well. Yeah.
2 and 3. I liked them.
They're fun games.
This was, to me, a weirdly shiny and well-polished looking watered-down version of that.
I agree. The gameplay was not as, like, I don't know, I didn't feel like they added anything of depth to it, really. Like, they didn't, like, elevate the game whatsoever, but they did make it look really nice.
Yeah, that's what they do. They shine it up and make a perfect little set. You know, a little diorama. And then they let you play, and everything, like, feels just, I don't know. I can't explain it.
It did feel, like, very, like, empty gameplay-wise. Like,
Even
none of the mini-games were that, like, great either.
Even though you get different dice, but it's just, like, almost infuriating, because everything's by chance. What about dislike about it versus the first games? And I guess it all comes down to mini-games.
Yeah, that was
I don't remember loving any of the ones we played.
I don't either. That's what I was saying a minute ago. It's like none of the mini games were like memorable or super enjoyable.
I'm coming back to what you're saying. Like they're not memorable, and if the stuff outside of it's not supposed to be memorable, but everything that's happening outside of the mini games is what's determining where the whole game is going, really.
Right.
And it's infuriating.
No, it definitely was. I remember just being,
but
fucking livid because I kept getting fucked by dice rolls and like just way behind for fucking ever.
Yeah.
Because it was just super chance based, like goobery.
There just should be more mini games and not so much shit happening in between.
I agree.
Those
are the best
why
parts.
Not make us play 2 mini games when the turn's over? Why not? Who says it has to be 1?
That is true.
Even if we get half the coins per game, that would make it more fun.
It would be more fun. Like, there's way too much of the just rolling dice.
Yeah.
For a fucking video game.
Yeah.
If I wanted to roll dice, I would not be playing a fucking video game.
Music, I guess, I don't fucking remember it, and I'm thinking about a Mario game, though. And so, Mario-itis. It's like, do I rate it higher?
It is tough.
I'm guessing it's probably a 2. I don't remember.
Yeah, I was about to say 2 is probably as high as I'll go with it because I don't remember.
Art,
definitely. No, I'm gonna go with 3. Because it wasn't like, holy shit, this looks fucking great.
Yeah.
Like, but it was like, wow, this does, like, for a Mario Party game, this does look really good.
Once again, it's that Nintendo thing where we're making very shiny Disney Pixar characters and very shiny worlds that have actually a lot of detail.
Yeah.
You know, fidelity, and it works really well with what they're doing. They're definitely trying to pull a Pixar. I say it looks good. Absolutely.
I agree.
Gameplay. Two for
Yeah.
me, honestly.
I would agree. Because Mario Party games in general are fun, but this one,
like look at this.
There was not nearly. I had less fun. That's all I got to say about that.
Worms 3D is a game I got for the GameCube because it was super fucking cheap at GameStop at the mall in probably 2004 or 5. So I had it for a long time. I played it a lot by myself. I would just play against the computer and stuff. It was like the first Worms game I had.
Yeah, for me, I did not play this at all until, when we played it. But I had played the shit out of, like, Worms 2. Like, I loved that I played on the computer a lot. Both me and, like, my cousin would play it.
Yeah.
But I was super into it, and I was like, oh, sure, I'll see what it would be like in 3D. And it was a weird adjustment. Like, the gameplay is so different.
Yeah.
Like,
it is
different.
vastly different.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. Like, it just definitely took some adjusting to. And I still stand by that. I still think that because I don't know if it's because of it being 3D, but they neutered all of the weapons. Like, you couldn't do as much. They couldn't go as far.
Yeah, there were certain weapons where it was like, I'm noticing it over and over, and I just can't tell if it's us fucking up.
None of the weapons did, like, hardly shit for damage. Like, even if it's a direct hit, it would be like 40 damage for, like, the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And, like, there was shit that could just kill you, like, outright. But those were, like, hard to hit things, or, like... and even, like, shooting the bazookas and stuff was just so weird in 3D. Because, like, there was wind in the 2D version, too, but it's a whole other fucking dimension to worry about, so it makes, like, the mechanics of it just so much more, like, complicated.
Yeah.
And they did not improve, like, your navigation of 3D space.
No, they didn't.
Like, particularly, like, with this, like, the ninja rope thing, it's fucking terrible. It's so much worse than it was in 2.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with it being 3D or not, because you're still moving in 2D when you use that, because you're not, like, swaying to the sides, like, you're still... Yeah. But they just made it so much worse. Like,
yeah. It's true. They tried to hold true to what they had before to keep it familiar, but it just didn't quite work. Music, there's a thing you'll learn is that I love this game, but I probably won't rate it very high. It's one of those things. Music is a 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same on music. I barely remember there even being music. Like, it wasn't. Yeah. Not only did it not, like, super blow me away, but I barely even registered that there was music playing.
Yeah. Especially just like a snare drum.
Yeah, like it's very quiet in the background. Nobody plays this game for the music. Nobody.
No. Fucking artwork.
That I'll give it a 3. Like, because I like how the Worms games in general look. I think it's a fun little art style. But this one in particular, I think was good. Like, just because it, they moved it to 3D and it brought that same game into, a 3D environment. But it wasn't like, holy shit, it really, like, revamped what I thought about Worms. It was still the same game, it's just 3D now. But it looks good.
That's tough for me, because it's like, there wasn't all the art that's really super intentional are like the weapons and the character models and the little chunks of land.
Yeah.
Like one chunk unit, you know.
Actually,
and so it all spawns.
Yeah, now you put it that way, because like Worms 2 did the same thing, but like the environment, even if because you could do the same thing where you alternate the terrain, all that shit.
Yeah.
But it was more like artistic. There was more in like the actual terrain and environment, like just odd shit you would find. There's not as much of this, nearly as much of this in it. So I'm gonna have to say like a 2, because it really feels like a very watered down like atmosphere as well. Like from the terrain to everything. Like the weapons don't like they. Actually, I think they took detail away from the weapons from what it was on Worms 2.
Yeah, I would say it too, honestly. There's some things where it felt like they cut corners and just made simple models and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe it was all because they were saving memory or whatever, but could have done a little better. Gameplay.
I'm gonna go with 3 on gameplay.
Yeah. I'll give it like, not a 3.5 to round it up, but I'll give it a 3.3. Because I actually enjoy it a lot, even though I've shat talk it. I know that the wind is a factor that like kind of throws people off and stuff, and you kind of get used to it. And like when you do get used to it, you kind of appreciate the game more because you're having more fun, because it's like you master this wonky little mechanic.
Right.
And then, I don't know. So it's a fun game because you can like customize the maps and stuff, and kind of like you can make it just one giant chunk if you want, and just like shoot each other directly. But it's kind of no fun if you do that. So
it takes a lot away from the game.
So I like the gameplay a lot, but not enough for it to be called great. This is honestly the fucking reason that I bought my new gaming PC and stuff, just so I'd be able to like run a PS3 emulator. And if you're wondering, I did buy the game physically. So we played this, and we actually played it for a good 45 minutes, but I could not cut that because honestly, we were just.
There was so much just point. Like fumbling and bumbling and what? But what am I supposed to? But how am I?
You're just caught in the loop of nothing makes sense. I've been playing for 30 minutes and nothing makes sense. I can't even make the menu screen work.
That's so true. That game was so goddamn hard to figure out. That, and we were also dealing with like anytime I like touched the controller, it like stopped working for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck was going on that day, but
it's weird. It's like if I tested it out, like then like if I held the controller near you, or like at least on this side of the room, it would not proceed anymore.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah. So
it must have been the chip that the government put in my head.
I like playing stuff like this, or at least experiencing it just for its own sake, because
experiencing is a good word, because playing is not quite right.
It's not the word.
Playing implies that it's a game and there's a clear objective that you're trying to win. I have no idea what we were doing while we experienced this art piece.
Music. Honestly, I'm gonna give it as 3.
For music?
I'm gonna call it good. It's weirdo shit for me, so.
I'm gonna call it a 2 for music, because I don't remember too much about it. I was too perplexed by what I was seeing to care about what I was hearing.
It's just like a trumpet. But like, I don't know. They texturize. I have to look back on it to better say what it is, but it builds the thing well that they're doing. I'll say that. Art style.
Art style, I'm actually gonna rate it at a 4 because it was very amusing, like it was very cool to look at, and it like cracked me up a lot. I just had no idea what the fuck was going on, though it looked cool. So I'm gonna give it a 4 for how it looked.
Oh man, I'm gonna give it. For me, there's something that's not in our criteria that makes it great.
I agree.
And I can't say that it's. Is it the art? Is the art what sums it up?
think that really is what it is.
The art of it all. Not even the style.
Right, because it's not like how the chicken looks is mind-blowing. No, it's just the whole concept of why everything looks like this and what the fuck is going on. Why is my ass so fat now? Like, it's just so strange.
You know what? I'm going to give it a 4. I want to remember it.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
It's brave as fuck. And I don't know, man. The art of it all is amazing, I'll say that. It's an experience.
Agreed.
That's the best way we can bundle it. And then gameplay. I'm going to give it a 1.
Definitely a 1.
The weird thing is, like, I was trying to, like, look up how to fucking play the thing. I was trying to Google it on my phone, and I couldn't find anything.
It's just like, figure it out, stupid!
You have to use the menu, but guess what?
You gotta know how to play to use the menu, stupid.
Should have been paying attention. Alright. So, for me, I bought this game in 5th grade. I saved up money from a yard sale and bought it, and I was so fucking happy. Got it because it looked so extreme and cool, and I was already incredibly online by that time. I was on like the Neoseeker forums, so I would read, I would just go to stuff that looked interesting and like look up the cheats and look up what people are talking about. And I wanted this game. I never really had a Sonic game. I would play it at like my friend's grandma's house, which was very rarely.
Really, you didn't hang out with your friend's grandma all the time?
All the time, dude. So I got this game, and I thought it was pretty fun back then. Because I spent a lot of time in the fucking Chow Garden. And I listened to the music all the time. This was like the first music I really, really got into was this game. And it's weirdly formative if you know anything about me IRL.
He's big into polka.
Yeah. I played it a lot. I played the Chow Garden. I beat the game, and I listened to the soundtrack all the time. The end.
I like the music. The music was like very memorable and enjoyable. Like that was the only part of this that was enjoyable was the music. Well, actually,
all right. So we'll go it. So what was the music?
Music's 3 for sure.
I'll agree. As a kid, I would have said 4.
I would have said 5. Kid, if I played this as a kid, I probably would have agreed.
The songs are good, and let's say this. It's harder to pull that off with live vocals and a rock band and stuff from writing original music for a game to pull off a 3.
That is true.
If I were to say this is a high 3,
I can't think of any other ones that I'm like, yeah, that was actually really good.
Yeah.
They're usually all mind-numbingly terrible.
It's actually the same band that makes all the music for the Sonic stuff, and it's like one of the producers of the game or something. I'll correct myself right here. Fucking art style. It's like a 2.1. It's not terrible. I don't know if there was like problems upgrading, but from the Dreamcast.
Art is not great. Definite 2 for me on the art, because okay is the best I can say about that.
Gameplay, I'm gonna give.
This is a 0.
This is a 0 for Billy.
Hard 0.
Billy saved his 0 for Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and that makes me proud.
I knew it from the beginning.
I don't think it's bad.
Be the one.
I don't think it's bad, but please lay it down on me because I think it's fucking hilarious. Because I agree with probably every point.
Just the movement is the clunkiest, like awful shit. Like trying to do that boss battle, it's like there's no consistency to the movement. Like I can jump and double jump in the exact same spot, and I'll go to 2 different places. Like it like locks you into like a different spot, like for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like just little shit like that, and the like forced camera angle. Like I always hate that too. Like when you have like,
and then it changes suddenly, and then like the direction you're holding the stick is now
right. It's very counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Like, everything about it I thought was just poop. Like I was not a fan. Like had I actually gotten to play the Knuckles levels, I might have liked those. Like, but I think by the time we even got to that, I was just so over it. I did not even want to play it anymore.
Yeah.
It was just such a... Because, like, I really enjoyed, like, Sonic 2 and like Sonic and Knuckles, like I enjoyed those games, like the 2D side scroller Sonic games, and then playing this, like, this is ass. Like I fucking hated it.
I would say for me the gameplay is a low 2.1. That's correct. So that's pretty low for me. This is a game I loved. I'm shitting on it.
I hate what you love.